It's hot. Hey guys, welcome to another LivinginSAtv video. David here, and today guys, we are going to show you the most amazing scientific museum right here in Newtown, Johannesburg. And guys, if this place doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what will. Again guys, stay tuned for the amazing tour and stay tuned. Okay guys, very quickly, let me show you this media room inside of the museum. So they're actually having now a show live, so I'm going to come here very... Look at this place. How's it, man? How are you? Good. So this is crazy. Look at this place. This is a beautiful studio, man. Hey guys, may I? This is crazy. How are you, my brother? Good. Guys, this place is ridiculous. Yo, this is a cultural mecca.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sci-Bono Discovery Center. I'm Kolani Nameka. I'm gonna be taking you around our lovely greatest science center in the southern hemisphere, Sci-Bono Discovery. Let's see what is it that it has for us. Please come with me for the tour of Sci-Bono Discovery Center. We have lots and lots of activities that we can engage with. We talk the interactive mathematics science, we talk the puzzles, we talk the dinosaurs, we talk National Geographic, we talk the climbing walls, we talk building constructions. We are talking all these things that you in science, you can have any challenges on it. The first puzzle we can talk about the T. Can you make the T or the arrow on the puzzles? We get to these puzzles and so on. These are good puzzles that we can interact with and start to solve certain problems that we might be having. We also get to the stage where we can build construction exhibit. Let's see what is it that construction exhibit has. You've got the bricks to build your own house. You've got the cement, but most importantly, you need safety. That is more important. Let me show you our safety when you are doing your own house. Come with me quickly and let's have the fun in this science center. This is our own house where you get all the safeties. You've got your own, helmet. You've got your own aprons, for you to build. Before you can start taking your own bricks, which they are absolutely here for you to be able to build. You've got your own cement where you can build in your own columns. You also have the bricks And the bricks that I'm having, you have the short bricks, you know, that you can use. You also have the long bricks that you can use. You have the belt here, where you can even give this your kids, you know, other friends that you are building with, to build together and so on. So come to Sci-Bono, come and build your own house here. It starts at Sci-Bono. Let's see other things that Sci-Bono has for you. Come with me very quickly. There's so much that we can learn. You know, you have your periodic table. Most of us suffer from what is a periodic table. What does it entail? You know, from the vanadium, you talk about lithium, you talk about magnesium. How do magnesium look like? What is the information there? We only know the atomic number, the atomic mass, but do we know how it looks like as compared to calcium? Let me show you. There's magnesium. This is the information around it. How do they look like? Greatly similar, you know, but they are not the same. So please, when you see anything that is silver, don't conclude it's magnesium, it's vanadium, it's calcium. No, you need to get the what? The atomic mass and the relative atomic number of it for you to conclude. Let's get again, because we spoke about minerals, magnesium periodic table and so on. That introduces us to what? To mining. Let's talk about mining. What do we get in mining? Minerals. But before you get those minerals, what do you need? Transportation. And what type of transportation do you need? Not just the cars that you see on the road on every day. Here is the type of a car that you need. Have you guys ever seen, you know, a big tire like this? You know, what do you think in this tire we put? Do we put pressure? Do we put air inside it? Do we put water? What is it that is needed? It's for you to find out when you come to Sci-Bono anytime soon. Meet up with the team to come and tell you where did we steal this big tire for the mining. Again, let's talk about the minerals that we get underground. That gold, you talk about vanadium, that I've shown you there. You talk about platinum and PGMs. You talk about the diamond stone. You talk about all this type manganese stone. You talk about aluminium. From all these things, including nickel, how do they help us to move in the economy of this country? The answer is here. You know, so join me here at Sci-Bono where we witness that. But what else can we do with these minerals? That one can ask himself, where does steel come from? Where do we get iron? How do we make it? Join me to come and see the table. Where does the drill bit come from? What is it that makes the drill bit? Look at these drill bills that you're looking at, you know. And then what stones do they come from? Here, the gearbox that you see in your cars, you know, where are they made from? You know, other irons that we can talk of in this world. Whether you want to make the doors, whether we want to make fencing for our houses, it takes steel, it takes minerals, it takes mining, and we need to respect that, because that is where the economy is sitting, and that is where our safety is also sitting as the country. That's more. Let's go up and see now about the cars, motor mechanics. Who likes cars? You know, if you like cars, if you want to know about cars, not only to drive them, what is it that inside the cars? It's for us to find out that. Walk with me. Have you ever seen the Isuzu nice car? Look at the colors outside it, the reflection of the chemiluminescence type of a light. Let's look at this car. Who can make his own design of a car like this? What do you think it will be the effect, you know, when it comes to our laws here in South Africa? If you're gonna drive a car looking like this, that's one thing that you need to be looking at. Now we get to the motor mechanic part, the mechanics of the car. Please, let's get in there. The rack and pinion. Do you remember what is a rack and pinion when you are driving your own car? Come and see with me. Now, it can be illustrated differently from rack and pinion. Here we are making a gate. Even nowadays, now we are now technology aware. You even want to use a remote, but the principle still remain. That is the rack and pinion. And how does it illustrate it? This is how we illustrate it. You know, there's the rack, there's a pinion. You know, all the rack, it sits right on top of your pinion. You know, you want to talk about the gearbox. How does the gear change from 1 to 2? What happens when you change it? When you are clutching at the very same time, you know, that you need to see it. You not only drive it and say, no, I'm in this type of a kind, what. No, the combustion engine. What happens in the combustion engine? You know, the pistol and the what. How do they work? You know, I want to show you more than this, and for you to learn more. How do these things work? We get to a cutaway car. You know, not only that, let's get to a cutaway car. You know, how does the system work? What are the disc brake that people talk about? What is the power steering? What is what? Now you look, switching on the motor on. What moves? inside our own cutaway car, the power steering. We talk of the power steering, we talk of the tooth belt. How do they work? You get to the fog lights. Some people, they don't know how lights operate, what type of these lights are. We only know that it's dark, let me switch on the lights. What lights are you switching? What type of darkness are you faced with? That becomes the question. You come across a big fog, when you are driving somewhere in the midnight, you ask yourself, what type of cars, what type of lights do I need to use here? People are giving us bright lights, which causes accidents. You want to talk about the reverse lights. What are the reverse lights? The bulbs, are they working? Are you able to show somebody who's also on the road like you that no, now you are reversing your car? Did you check all those things? Do you inspect your car more often? The stoplights, what are the stoplights and what are they there for? You need to come and look into these things. The emergency lights, what are emergency lights? What help do you need when you are stuck in the road? How do we know that you are stuck in the road? All that. What is it that you need? How can we see that you need help? Can you be able to switch the emergency light? This talks to that. The park lights, don't confuse emergency lights with the park lights, ladies and gentlemen, because you'll put the park lights only to find out you are in need of an assistance. So you need to know these things. The deep lights as well. What are deep lights and what do they work for? What are the bright lights and what bright lights are they for? Your hooter as well. When you hooter, does your hooter work? Is your battery alive? These are the things that when you come to Sci-Bono, you are able to come and experience these things by yourself, touch and feel. Sci-Bono, it's all about that. Do not be scared to fiddle with these things, to understand how they work. That's what we exist for. Let's get a smaller picture of what we spoke about these things to say, can we have the reverse light? Can we have the fast light? Can we have the indicators working left and right, the light switching on of the lights and so on, the brake lights and things like that? Can we also have other things that we can talk about? The indicators, your indicators, car indicators on the left, can we get again your indicators on the right? How do they work? Get the feel of these things, drive your own car, understand the indicators that they shouldn't only work, in the front of your car, but indicators, somebody who's driving from behind must also be able to see the indicator. The small, let's go up for me and you see, what we are talking about. We also have our own planetarium, where we can talk about the galaxy, the Milky Way. I'm now reminded of that geography education that we got in school. The black hole. Anyone who once heard about the black hole, what is a black hole? Have you ever seen the black hole? How does it work? Let me show you, and what does it exist for, this black hole? The conserving of angular momentum, when you deal with the black hole, those are the principles that comes with understanding the black hole and what does it exist for. But there's more than the black hole, because we have our own planetarium. We have our mobile planetarium, not only the stationary one, we can even visit you where you are with our dome so that we can come and discuss the galaxies at large. Let's see more what Sci-Bono has. There's so much. You can even take the whole day here. It's a paradise of science. It's a paradise of knowledge. Do not be scared. I'm here to assist you. Come with me. Sci-Bono is here for you. Let's go. So much floor, so much test to go for. So many things to talk about. We talk about, let's talk about our own mechanics. Let's talk about now physics. Let's talk about our own balances. Let's talk about weights. Who understand weight? 50 kg. And who knows, when we are busy in our own traditional homes, we come across whereby there is the fire, there's a big 3-foot pot, you need to take it off from the fire. What is it that you need? Do you calculate the weight of that pot and so on? How does it happen? 50 kg type of a pot alone, you cannot make it. Very heavy. But with 2 people, it becomes lighter. Then you are able to lift it, even with one hand, because there's another one there. This is the demonstration of that. But not only that, we can even talk about other weight. Simple lever. The pulleys. This is one pulley. You have 2. You have 2, 4. You have 4 of the pulleys. But what does it mean? Please rest assured, I'm not teaching you here kickboxing. I'm not teaching you to box and so on. I'm teaching you the same weight of things, but they can have different weight if you are clever enough to say, I have different pulleys today. This one, because it has only one pulley, you'll feel the tension on your hand, that this is very heavy. This with two, a little of it, because you have someone assisting you to pick up this weight. Now it's 4 men to pull up the same weight. Now it becomes very, very light. You can even use your fingers, as you can see, I'm using my finger. That's how the pulleys work. So you need the pulleys in your family. Wherever you are, in the working environment and so on, bring your own pulleys, what we call the team chemistry. Work with people to make the weight very light. Then the work proceeds. Thank you very much. Let's see more. Let's see more. It's so big, Sci-Bono. You love it. Sci-Bono is delicious. I'm taking you to the section of electricity, circuits. Who knows circuits? How do circuits behave? You know, what do we need for a circuit to be complete? You know, current needs to flow. This bulb of mine is off, but the question is, why is it off? For electricity to move, you need a battery, positive and negative edge. Well-charged battery, you need your bulb, and then you need a switch, different type of switch. Now for this light to be on, I'm gonna now put my switch on, you know, for it to be there. There we get it. You can play around different types of switches in order to make your circuit to flow. Either I'm taking it from here to here, but I will still have my bulb switching on. Let's look at others. Let's look at others. There's so much about the switches. We can talk about the tray. You know, we talk about the direct current. We talk about the indirect current. What is the impact of that? And how do we symbolize the direct and the indirect? Using the batteries that we are having, using the train that we are having here. And now I'm gonna charge my own batteries for us to see the direct movement of the train contributing to the direct current by putting it to my own terminals. Then we can see that. But then what happens if I change the direction of my batteries? Does the train also changes its motion from right going to the left? Let's see. Let's see whether is this feasible. Is it true that there is direct, there is DC, and there is indirect current? Now I've turned my batteries the other way around. There, indeed, the train takes an anti-clockwise motion, which definitely proves the statement of direct and indirect movement of electricity. We can look at, remember we talk about conductors. Are we conductors as human beings? What conducts? What insulates? That now brings us to the concept of insulators and conductors when we talk about electricity. Let's see. I have one tube here that is filled with seeds inside, you know. In Africans we say sonneblom. These are the seeds. We normally give them to the birds and so on. But I want to know, do the seeds conduct electricity or insulate it? To prove that, I'm gonna put this right to here to see whether if my bulb becomes on, then it conducts electricity. It doesn't become on, it insulates. Doesn't conduct electricity, the seeds. For electricity to pass from here through the seeds up until to the bulb. Let's see. Definitely, it's an insulator. It doesn't. But let's see other examples. Oh, I have the copper filings in here. Does copper conduct electricity? If you look at it, even the nails, copper nails mixed with it. But let's see about that. We failed on the seats, but let's see. There you go. Now, we do agree that copper does conduct electricity, can pass through here for the bulb to be on. Other examples, you can talk of you can talk of the carbon, you can talk of stainless steel, you talk of the feathers, you know, these are flamingo type of feathers and so on. Do feathers conduct electricity? Let us see. When it rains and so on, it's stormy. It doesn't. But do carbon conduct? It does. Carbon does conduct electricity. Careful, guys, when we deal with these things at home. Let's check at other things. You know, you get your own energy bicycle. I want to see on my energy bicycle that I'm having here. My aim here is to switch on the bulbs, pedaling this bicycle and so on. And I can imagine if you are a husband, if you are a father, if you are a mother in that house, you want to cook your own samp, you want to cook your own lamb stew. But before that, for you to have electricity in that house, let's pedal the bicycle. Will you all make it in the house? I don't know about that, but definitely sure this now, I'm gonna now kill all the obese people and so on with this. And my aim is to switch on all the bulbs, they are off, but I need to switch all the 3 bulbs on just by pedaling. What do we say about energy? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another. Let us see, I can transform this energy from me to the bulbs. Here is the good illustration. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. All the bulbs are on. Definitely sure I can cook lamb stew in my house. You know, that is very good. But come and experience for yourself, you know, by cycling. Let's get to light optics, you know, and let's say more about what is perception, what is light, what is sight. Remember concepts like concave and convex, you know. You remember concept like infinite, you know. You remember the concepts when you talk about your own perception that, no man, it looks like, but it is this, is not that. No, now the mirror images. You stand into the mirror, what type of an image do you see? You know, on the concave side of the mirror. You stand on another side of the mirror, what type of an image that comes out of there? All these things, they contribute to what? To light perceptions and so on about the mirrors. Let's get to other part of the mirrors and the behavior of a mirror. Shut up, images. When you get to this thing, and you will conclude wrongly to say, no, my image was like this and so on. Definitely sure you need a qualified people to do mirrors for you so that your image does not get distorted and you think wrongly about yourself. Please, these things, they play a very crucial role when it comes to perceptions. We also have the mirror maze. You know, people have watched the movies of the Chinese playing, you know, martial art and so on. The concept of the mirror maze comes from there to say, what is it that you learn from this? You know, does your brain get a little, you know, sort of like what they call sicknesses, you know, the mental sicknesses when you are faced with many mirrors around you and so on. Hence they call it a mirror maze. So that's where now you start now to play around and so on. But here we give you tools for you not to come in contact with the mirror, and you start now to scratch your head.
So, if my brother here says, let's see if we can go through the labyrinth without smashing. Okay, I'm using now the. Okay, you see. Wait. See why I'm using the blue thing? I'm using something to guide myself. Still tricky. Very tricky, but after a while, I think you guys will get used to it. Okay, definitely here. Okay. I'm using a trick here, guys. I think you guys will understand when you guys are here. She's getting puzzled after a bit. Yay, we are out! Woo!
Remember, guys, I spoke to you about mirrors. I said perception. We spoke about what again? Optics, because you need an eye to be able to see and view these things. But let's come to perception. On perception, one might ask, what do you see there? I see the sunglasses, and then on the other side, what do you see there? There is a face of a man in front of. Now, perception, how it works is in the manner that is why you'll be asked a question over and over. Did you see a man wearing glasses or not? And then you'll say, no man, he was wearing glasses. Are you sure he was wearing glasses? He was holding glasses. But let's see, how does that concept affect here? You saw sunglasses on the side. This is the face of a man. And now if I'm gonna flip this, it appears exactly a man wearing glasses. So perceptions play a very much important role. Another example that also speaks to this, it can be a cage and a bed. You know, how does it work? You see a bed here, your own parrot, you know. On the other side, you can see, you know what, some strips and so on the line. Now, under high speed, now our own parrot, it will appear as if it's inside the cage. So that's how perceptions they work, ladies and gentlemen. We need to be very careful with these things. I can show you more about our own wall of perceptions so that you understand it's psychological. And people in psychology, they deal more with perceptions more than any other person. Let's get to other levels of perceptions. Wall of illusions, you know. And the question one might ask you is that, is this cube having a ball here, the ball inside or outside? When you look into this flip-flop cube, those are our own illusions. You come again to Ebbinghaus illusions. Now, which circle in the middle is bigger than the other between the two here? No, these are perceptions that works with you to say, hi, I see this one being big. Now, somebody will say, is this big or the ones around it smaller? Is this small or the ones around it bigger? So I leave that to you as a psychologist to see that. The curve wall illusions. When you look at this wall, what do you see? Sort of like it's stretched. Certain objects don't match with each other and so on. Now you need to re-look into that. The Canizza triangle, what does it say to us? I know when people look into this, they remember their own games of Pac-Man. This is not Pac-Man that we are talking about. Now we are taking the great science here. The Ponzo illusion. Is this the railway, the stairs? Is this line bigger than that one? You know, looking at it from a distance, these are the things that play a very important role in psychology when you deal with perceptions. Let's talk about now the architecture. Sci-Bono was so lucky enough to be so blessed with such a nice model that was donated to it, you know, from way in England, that now come and experience our own how train and so on, that we can build for you, that has control panels, that has everything. And this model, looking at it, it looks very beautiful and so on, but I can tell you a lot of work needs to be done here to master all the aerial photograph, to master where it needs to go where and so on. First you take the aerial photograph, then you look for all the pieces that resemble exactly that. Let's see what happens into this with the trains. So Sci-Bono, like I said, it was very much fortunate to be blessed with such a model, you know, to say, can it ignite learners to understand the origins of architect, to understand the origins of engineering, to understand working together, you know, in making sure that how does the camera lens work as well, you know, to work with people to come up with this thing. Sci-Bono was so fortunate, I must say, to be having this thing. Even where I'm sitting, even at home, I'm thinking of opening my own garage, start doing something when it comes to aerial photograph and not undermine the power of a camera. This is now being given to us on the ground. How does a camera work, taking it to the ground? We can go and see more. Like I said, this, we have a very big science center and there's so much one can do about it, you know. Again, before I want to leave you with a concept that we spoke about perception with the head turner, and ask you a question. What is wrong with this face? You know, how are the features of this face? It's upside down, the teeth, you look at the mouth, you look at the nose, you look at the eyes and so on. You look at the hair. Is the hair of the person supposed to be upside down while we are smiling? It doesn't make sense to me. You know, if somebody's smiling, definitely sure the hair needs to be on top, is fresh and all that. Ladies can tell me more about that. But let's turn it, you know. And what is wrong with this now, the head? Because the hair, we got it correct. The head, full head, we got it correct. Now, what is wrong with the features? You need to tell me when it comes to that. Now, there's something wrong with the setup of the eyes, something wrong with the setup of the teeth. Now, these things definitely show the orientation and so on. People use it, our medical doctors, they deal with these orientations. Let's not undermine them. Psychology deals with these things to make sure that we have better lives in our own lives. Thank you very much. Let's move to other things. Infinite reflections, I told you about the mirrors and the mirror image. Then we go to another level. You know, you can use the ramp, you can use the stairs, you can use the elevators. Here at Sci-Bono, all the options are given because we take all types of people. We are open to cosmopolitan. Let's get to pressure. Anyone who knows what is pressure? Do you remember it from school? What is pressure? Can I demonstrate what is pressure to? What happens when you take a needle, put it on your finger and press it, you know? Obviously it's gonna cut you. But what happens if you take your own palm of hand, put it on top of many needles? You know, even if you can do sit up on that, you know, I don't know. Will you get cut up by that? I don't know. This chair of nails is a very good demonstration of that, of pressure versus volume. You know, when you are sitting on many nails on a chair, definitely sure I will give you all my salary whatsoever if you're gonna come back to me and say, hey, those nails, man, they've caused some holes on me, I'm bleeding. But I can give you, I can also give you money if you say, sit on one nail that is on a chair and tell me what will happen. Definitely sure you'll bleed. But here, no bleeding. Why? Because now pressure is evenly distributed. That is why you cannot get any injuries when it comes to volume. Let's look at more. Can take you up, you know, mechanics. Who knows mechanics? You remember velocities. Eh? You remember magnets, the behavior of magnets when you talk in science. Do you still remember the gyroscopic movement? Do you still remember the centrifugal force, the centrifugal acceleration? Do you still remember all those concepts? That's mechanics. Let's look at them and let's talk more about the mechanics and what is it that mechanics does. This is Sci-Bono. You can have all the luxury you want when it comes to science. Don't be scared. This is science, it's not magic. We don't do magic here. We show you. This is the proof, the living proof. Come here and enjoy the science with us, snack science with us, and let's enjoy. Let's get to the part of mechanics and see what is it that Sci-Bono has on us for mechanics. The centrifugal force. I'm about to show you this. People who are cyclists, who are motor, who sits on bike. This is, what is it that you can tell me about the gyroscope? You know, what happens when your motorbike helps and so on. You know, the force that comes with that, you know, the weight even of your body to the motorbike. This is being resembled by that. When you sit on this chair here, and then you can turn your wheel left or right, and at the very same time, you can also give yourself a nice swing so that you feel, you know, what it does here on your arms as you are turning the wheel. That is all about the gyroscopic. The same illustration, I have it and we'll get to it so that you can see it clearly what it does. The human battery. Do us as humans conduct electricity? True or false? True, I don't know, but I will see with the needle whether I do conduct electricity. This is silver, this is copper. My hands needs to be here so that I can check the voltage on my body, whether does it exist or what. This is the voltage meter, you know. So I'll put my hands here and see. Let's see, it says 20 and so on. So definitely show the ammeters, you know, when you talk of electricity, that electricity does flow. We also conduct electricity. Let's look at other principles in physics that we can talk about. Remember, colleagues, I spoke to you about the gyroscopic movement, and here it is and the effect of it, and you're going to experience it using our own wheel and see the movement of it when you start to take certain curves and playing like that. What type of movement? We know movement is circular, it can be straight movement, circular and so on, but then what type of a movement is this? Now this type of movement we refer to it as a gyroscopic type of movement. This is what I was saying to you about the principle of gyroscopic. Now let's get to momentum. What happens when two cars they clash? What happens when two cars they start to knock out each other? You know, let's talk about momentum before, momentum after. It illustrated exactly the same principle, that the distance you see between here, when this ball is gonna knock here, transfer the same energy to all the ball that is on the other side, you know, and giving it the equal distance. So it's an equidistance and so on. That is why when we are having accidents, we are able to tell what speed were you driving at when two cars have knocked each other. We can talk about vacuum cleaners. What is a vacuum? Let's get again, you know, a space that does not have air. Do we have something like that on Earth? I don't think so. But let's illustrate. Whether do we have a vacuum? Because many of our mothers, you know, at home, they are using the vacuum cleaner. And now I've just opened this own cylinder of mine so that there is air getting inside this. And the moment air gets in here, definitely sure I cannot talk about a vacuum, because we are saying a vacuum is a space that does not have air at all. Now I've let the air inside to see whether is this principle true. Now I'm gonna put my pinballs in here, and to see if I close here, making this cylinder of mine a vacuum, meaning a space that should not have air. The only thing that will have air will be my suction here to suction that. That's how a vacuum cleaner operates. Let's see, is it true, this principle? I'm going to close. The teller, there you go. Definitely sure does exist the issue of a vacuum cleaner. Let's talk about pressure and volume. Pressure versus volume. Pressure is directly proportional to volume, or is it inversely proportional to volume? Those are the questions that we used to ask when we're in the classroom. But in most cases, pressure is inversely proportional to volume. And let's demonstrate that. We have a mass of that with this, the Cartesian diver. By putting my own Cartesian diver, if I'm gonna apply pressure on this bottle, will this Cartesian diver go down or up? Those are the questions. But let's see, because we say pressure is always inversely proportional to volume. Tap, there I am, I press, it goes down. Why? I've applied pressure to this bottle, I've applied pressure to the water, hence this reduces what? The volume. But then if there is no pressure, when I release, the volume increase. Now this thing can occupy wherever it wants to. That is the principle around pressure and volume with the sinking metal. Let's talk about the behavior of magnets. Magnets, positive and negative attract, or negative and negative attract. I don't know, but what I know is that positive and negative, they attract. No matter how many negatives you have, no matter how many positives you have, the number does not count. As long as there is a positive and negative, they will find each other and they will attract. This is a good illustration of that blue and red, will they attract, or red and red, will they attract? Let me put red here and let's see whether will red attract red. Definitely it can't. Let's shoot again. Will blue attract blue? Never. Let's see again. Red wants blue. You see, they want to attract. But then let me put blue there. Still, it doesn't work, that principle. So that's how magnets behave. We can illustrate that again with this type of an illustration that works perfect for you to see whether does blue gets attracted to red or blue to blue. Definitely sure. I'll move my own. These are done with magnets. It's a blue, just to code them, to say let's give it a paint of blue, let's give it a paint of red, and let's put again magnets and give them a color as well to see whether will blue get attracted to blue or will it get attracted to red. Let's illustrate that by putting it here. I'll put it here and let me see. There's a blue in the middle. Let's see where it will go. Went to red. Definitely sure positive gets attracted to negative, not negative to negative, not positive to positive. That principle does not exist. And for most people who likes to play games and so on, we have the game of the Towers of Hanoi. We call it Towers of Hanoi. Remember, how do we pack things? How do we build a house for it not to fall? How do we build a pyramid for it to stay longer ages and ages? It comes to what comes before what. That's the principle. So in this Towers of Hanoi building, there's no way where you can put white on top of white, black on top of black. No, two colors, they don't go the same like this. That is wrong. And you don't put the bigger part on top of the smaller one. This is definitely sure. By all means, where you are sitting, even if you don't understand principles of pressure, this is pressure. Now this illustration, it says you put, if it's sitting like this, you want to build the same pyramid here or here. Now you will start by taking this here as an example to you. Now I want to remove this gentleman who's big here. I'll take this one here and then I'll put this one here. Take again the small one here, put the black one on top of this, my own illustration, and then you can put this. I have white, black, white. That's how you pack. But you need to come and complete it here at Sci-Bono. I'm giving you that opportunity. Let's see others. Now let's talk about energy. Types of energy, types of bulbs, talk all these things that you can talk about, and starting with the hydropower. How does hydropower work? I know you hear the word power, but there is hydro, which is water. Now, how does it work? We have a very good illustration of that for people who wants to deal with, who are dealing with bridges and so on, building bridges, to say, we want that water to move from this province to come to this province. You need to master how hydropower works. After it has rained, how will this water come to us? What will be the push, and to what extent, to what angle? It's not a joke. You need to study all those things. You're not just going to break the bridge and then the water comes, otherwise it will cause lots of certain things. Now you look at the angles, it gives you a nice illustration of angles to say that water at the bottom part can project far than the water on top. So people who are dealing with bridges, who are conserving water for us, calculate these things. So when you are dealing with this, it's a very, very nice special course of dealing with hydropowers and the angles. So when you get to the solar panels at the very same time, let's not undermine the power of the sun, what it can do to us. Sci-Bono is a very good illustration of a solar panel, a radio, your own speakers, so that you can be able to listen to your own radio while using the sun and putting the solar panel in you, so that it can charge, store energy, transfer that energy to the radio waves. Let's see how does that work. Then you are able to listen to your sound. You'll play with your own station, but yeah, you can dance, honey, come home, So this is how, you can enjoy the benefit of the sun. Remember, the sun is also energy. We also have here the convertible type of energy that you want to use. We can transfer energy from food mixer to the globe, from the globes to the lights, from the lights to the fan and radio, and so on. Different types of objects that we can use to talk about energy. Again, we can also take our own energy even to the geysers. You have your own solar geyser on top of your roof in your house, and how the geyser looks like, inside, for it to be able to store warmth, to store heat. How much the solar as well looks like to be able to store the energy that comes from the sun. Definitely a sponge play a lot of role in putting these things, because that the sponge deals with warmth. So that is where now you need it. Let's get to another part, which is now chemistry. We all know what is chemistry. You talk redox reaction, you talk carbon dioxide, you talk the methane, the butane, you talk all these things, but it's all, let me just do the redox reaction for you to see how is the behavior of our own solution inside that operating. There you go. I wanna turn this, the water there to blue bottle, but it takes the redox type of a reaction for that to turn. You talk about the chemiluminescence light turn to play. Then you're gonna just press here, you look inside, and then you see how it turns, the color that it becomes. This is the principle of the chemiluminescence. Are you able to see? It's a bit dark. You need a human eye to see inside it.
It's very dark.
It's very, very dark. That's what all the principles of the methane, the carbon chain. How do we make the chain using the balls? This is how you look into it. From the periodic table that we spoke about, we can also be able to make our own carbon chains. Now let's get to the science of soccer. I don't know how many of you play soccer, but very interesting type of an exhibit. In soccer, when you are playing soccer, there is a nice principle that you need to take care of, and that principle is the principle of what? Sound and light. When you are playing with your own soccer mates, they are calling your name. You need to be able to identify them where they are, so that you can pass the ball to them. At the very same time, to master the timing of it. Here we talk about that principle of sound and light. We talk about inertia. We talk about the healthy diets, because you definitely need a diet, for you to be a very good soccer player. You talk about the Magnus effect. Who knows the Magnus effect? What causes a ball to curve? When you are playing there in the street and it's windy, now you wanted this ball to get into the poles. Instead of getting to the pole, it got deflected by the wind. But if you don't master those principles of physics, what causes that deflection and all that, then you'll always miss. So soccer players as well needs to understand physics and master it when they are going to take free kicks, penalties, and so on. We can take, for instance, this example, the deflection, where we talk about inertia, and you see how the deflection works. There it goes, there it goes. You see, hit at the pole, get in. But then if I were to take the penalty, maybe standing from somewhere instead of in the middle, can I see? See, just deflected. It cannot become a goal because of the wind that is there. Now we can even talk about this one here. I'm gonna zero it, and then we can see the principle of sound versus light. How does it work and so on. This now needs a little of sweating and so on. Come join me for this. Let's start with it. In this exhibit, I have these skeletons here, and these skeletons, they've got a light on top of it. And then this is where I pass all the skeletons. As you can see, it beeps, it gives me the sound. You can see even the light, it comes out. Now the light is gonna come out on top of this skeleton randomly. It's not giving any structure that 1, 2, 3. No, it's random. It's for me to use my reflexes to say, it's now behind me, it's now in front of me, it's now what. These are all my soccer mates. These are all my team members that I need to pass a ball to. And they're shouting at me differently. So I'm in the middle to pass to them. It has the time that is given to you, the passes that you need to make. Out of how many passes, they will tell me when I reset it to see how many passes are given to me. Let me reset it for you to see. Now there it is. 30 of them, 30 seconds is given to me. I'm gonna do the passes here, but before that, I must move it there so that I can see where the light will come out. Let's see. Let's play. I'm not a good soccer player. There you go. 1, 2. You see? 3, 4. Where is it? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where is it? There it is. 12 out of 13 passes. I tried my best, colleagues. This can be very tiring. It needs me to put my shorts and my cocks, and then you guys can see that I can make 30 passes. But now that I'm talking to you, I need you to come and show me that you can beat that score of mine. Come to Sci-Bono and come and beat X. Come and beat me. I'm waiting. Remember I spoke about the Magnus effect. I have a good illustration of that. That when you take your free kick, what happens to the ball? It starts to take a curve. But what causes that curve? These are principles of Magnus effect that you need to raise your hand, wave a bit, and feel the direction of the wind. And then we can know that where I'm using the right or the left to kick this ball, so that the wind does not affect the direction of your ball. Let's look at this. If you turn this, our illustration is that under high speed of wind, what happens to this ball? And then the anti-clockwise switch needle that we need to focus on, the red one comes out to show that now the direction of the wind has turned. So this is how the Magnus effect works. This is the illustration of it, and so on. I think those so far on mechanics, ladies and gentlemen, I've given you what at least all of us we can say, no, at Sci-Bono, I want to understand this and this, certain principles behind physics. Even if you have questions, principles, even what we are doing in the classroom versus what you want to see in this world, you'll come to Sci-Bono to come and see. Welcome to our own incredible illusions exhibition. Mathematics here, we are talking geometry. Who remember geometry? What is geometry? Geo means earth. Metry means what? Measurements. So we are measuring the earth here, or what? But let's see, what are we measuring here? But I remember from my own classroom education, we're taking geometry, and it's life now in terms of the 3D art. Can you make an art in a manner of a 3D? I don't know, but Sci-Bono managed, and Sci-Bono has this beautiful exhibition that we call it. It's an incredible illusions. Back to psychology. Let's see what is it that the anamorphic 3D pavement art by Kat Werner, what is it that is teaching us, and what is an anamorphic 3D art. All that you can be able to see it when we start to engage with the art themselves, the pictures that you can see here. The Mona Lisa, you remember the story of the Mona Lisa, that when you move, looking at his eyes also moves with you. When you move left, the eyes moves. Wherever direction you are, Mona Lisa is watching you. I will simply stand on this one here to mimic my gentleman here who is on doing the surfing. I would love to do the surfing at some stage. It's so nice. We are getting to December, guys. So the mood of science start here at Sci-Bono so that we can start to surf, So come with me, start here before you go to Durban or Cape Town. Let's surf here. The Mona Lisa that I spoke to you about when we are doing the 3D art of these things, and then the geometry in art around that. Who remember people, mathematicians like your Euclid, who spoke about different types of structures. You get your circle, calculating the radius. You get your hypotenuse, your adjacent. You remember those things. You get what is there when you are dealing with trigonometry, sine, cosine, cosec, all those things. Here they are being illustrated to us in a 3D art. Let's check other arts where I'm standing here. I can stand, there's a big chicken here standing on a table of food. That's how rich I am. Imagine standing on the big with. So this is done in a 3D art. What is perspective drawing versus geometry? The Leonardo da Vinci stories. Do you still remember? What happens when Jesus was sitting with the disciples who betrayed him? All that, what is a pyramid? What is a cylinder? What is a cube? How does a cube differ from a prism? How does a cylinder differ from a pyramid? All those things. What makes these shapes? Come to Sci-Bono to come and understand these things. Here I have another 3D art of a cat that has pushed my own vase of flowers, and my job, colleagues, is to stop that vase. And how do I stop it? I just need to be stopping it in this manner. And now the 3D art will show me saying no, X saved that vase from the cat pulling it down. You must clap hands for me. I did a great job, because this vase very expensive. You can see it's have a nice bed. Flowers are very expensive, guys, these days. So that's what 3D art is. Another art here you can talk about here. This man is throwing out the bubbles, but as Polani, I want to be inside this bubble, and he bubbled me inside. How do I do that? Can I sleep in here? Let me take my rest and sleep inside it, and you will see X inside the bubble being bubbled by this gentleman. This comes very nice, and this is the geometric art we can talk about. We can move to other arts that artists can talk about when it comes to 3D art. Who knows the grapes, guys? Can we eat the grapes from this? Because here is our friend here having his own share of grapes and facing that direction. I don't have something to eat, but I can do this, and I can also take my own grapes here. Are you able to see me as well taking my own grapes? So we can both, me and my friend over there, we can eat grapes. Even though he has abandoned me, but he forgot that I live in a science center, and having these things for me is nothing. Let's eat grapes and not worry about them. I can even stand on the pools inside the pool, and somebody can just say, hey X, are you not gonna fall in there? I can stand on one, on it, step nicely on another one, step just like that, but this is the act of what the 3D art can do. But at the very same time, we need to put to ourselves, what is it that these models, how do they work? But taking the application of the 3D art, you can even take it from the sunflower, the oils, the drawings that we see when we buy the cooking oils and so on. That here is the nice 3D art of it. Are these circles the same? Are they equal by look of hands? All that 3D art is able to tell us whether is this geometric that we see here, symbolizing to us a nice circles that are the same. What is a Fibonacci sequence? Those are concepts of mathematics you need to understand these things from many years of Leonardo of Pisa, who talk about that. How old is a tree, and how do you tell this tree is 5 years old, is 10 years old, and so on. 3D art is able to take out that by looking at this nice circular movement of this thing, and it can tell you with this type of art that this tree is so many years old. That's how people with the forestry and so on are able to tell us all these things. I have another 3D art that is so nice, that here is the picture of somebody tearing off something. Maybe I can also assist in holding somewhere here, and tear it and assist them in tearing this thing, So have you guys have assisted this big turtle with the nails, to also tear it off again, so that we have a nice picture around this. So much, ladies and gentlemen, around the 3D art. If somebody wanted to look at me, to peep through me while I'm bathing or what, there is an eye of that person, but he had to remove the eye. Then I'll simply just assist that very same person that let's pull it down so that you can clearly see me. This is another picture and a good illustration of a 3D art. Another one that is so nicely, guys, from our buildings, what is sacred geometry. All these buildings that you see, mathematically done. Chet Werner did a very great job around these things to tell us about what does these buildings imply on top and what is the duration, why is it not falling, all those things. It's all about the art of the structure and so on that it comes up with. The pyramid that we talk about in Egypt, this is a great illustration of them. How are they done and so on. This is an art, ladies and gentlemen. What is an optical illusion? Looking at this very same nice diagram, what do you see there? Are you seeing sort of like a star, sort of like a flower moving inward or outside? That now talks to optical illusion that we first mentioned when we were talking about perceptions on another world. Let's talk about me inside the bath. I've been talking for years and years. I need to bath now and get into my own swimming pool, and there I can see it. I just want this water to fall on me, so that this is my little bath. Can somebody hand me, my bathing cloth and soap there, so that I can freshen a bit here in a science center. We can also bath in our own 3D art. That's so nice, So ladies and gentlemen, that's what about Incredible Illusions is all about. Come to Sci-Bono, come and enjoy, come and have fun out of this, and at least build on your own education when you are somewhere in classrooms, wherever you are, whether you are doing artistic work, come and see another different type of art. That art is mathematics. Like it or not, we talk about different types of shapes, we're talking about mathematics. And today we see many type of paintings on the wall and so on. And people are not aware that there were professors, there were people who were called Leonardo da Vinci who came about these things. And it's been displayed here at Sci-Bono, Incredible Illusions. That's all about Incredible Illusions. Come and witness for yourself. This is Kolani Nameka at Sci-Bono. Thank you very much.
Okay guys, there you go. So this was the amazing Sci-Bono Museum right here in Newtown, Johannesburg in the city, guys. If you haven't been here yet, please come here, bring the kids, teach them what they have to learn. Let's create a nation of scientists and people with critical thinking in order to take our beautiful country forward, guys. So again, make sure you share, subscribe and destroy that like button. Now we'll see you in the next LivinginSAtv video.